Yes, now, and welcome back to 112 of the Top Loaded podcast. And we're joined by two very, very special guests. But obviously, before we introduce our lovely guests, obviously, one's going to be gloating over a penalty shootout win against a just about a playoff team in the championship. But we won't bring that up just yet. First of all, we just want to say a massive thanks to the guys over at Third Down Space for powering up this episode of the Top Loaded podcast. So, for any of your hobby needs, from great preparation kits to custom stands to supplies, head over to the website, use TP10 at checkout for 10% off everything. And today we're joined by two faces what are going to be very familiar to everyone in the UK and US side of the hobby, because they have been jet setting, globetrotting and the rest. So we're going to have to introduce a certain Man United fan first. He's probably going to do the Anthony celebration and all of this, but the one and only Gorilla Brains. No, you can't be doing that. You haven't just won a penalty shooter, but welcome to the Top Load podcast. And how you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
Yeah, very, very good. Thank you. Like I say, we always get the football out of the way. So go on. Here's the floor. How much was the relief after the penalty shootout? After that,
a lot of relief. I mean, that first penalty by Casemiro did get me a bit worried, but then Onana saved the day. So
yeah, I was going to say that's something you haven't said a lot this year, but I've got to admit, Onana has come on quite a bit as the season
recently. Yeah.
So, as I say, for a Man United fan, obviously, it's been a bit of a challenging season in terms of performances. But I think everyone wants me to ask you this. What's your view on Ten Hag? Will he be in charge first game of next season?
I hope so. I really hope so. But I don't think he will.
I was going to say, probably the first Man United fan I've actually spoken to saying, you hope so. So, be very intriguing. But obviously, you're not joined alone. Your partner in crime is here as well. And no doubt they're probably going to try and barter me for some cards or something. But the one and only spacemuseumgram, how are you doing, my friends?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Thanks for having me on. Ex-partner in crime.
Yeah,
we have.
Yes. You're still on here together, even though we will be talking about everything from how it started to obviously moving away. But I've got to start first of all. Obviously, we was talking just prior to this. Before we go into details of the partnership and everything like that, how did you actually get into the hobby itself? Because I think that's quite an interesting thing, that we know how a lot of people journeys have evolved since, but what actually got you into the hobby?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of a bit of a fossil. So I'm 24. And when I was younger, I used to collect the Merlin sticker books. So I remember when I was, I think, like 6 or 7, I had the 2006 Merlin sticker book. And I was parked outside one of my dad's friend's house, opening packs, and I managed to get the Ronaldo, and that's just like a key core memory for me. And so ever since then, I've always been sort of collecting like match attacks. And then when I got a little bit older and had like adult money, I sort of upgraded that into like Pokemon, buying the boxes and sort of opening them. And yeah, when I was working in my office, I was just talking to one of my colleagues about like trading cards, and he said that he had a small collection of match attacks. And then I just sort of went on eBay, started having a look, and started buying some of like the older like Ronaldo shootouts and like the iconic like man of the match cards and 100 clubs. And yeah, decided to create an Instagram, started posting some stickers, and then just all sort of spiraled from there, really.
As I say, the rest is history. Like, looking back on it now, obviously, I feel like all of us will have that nostalgia of the original Merlins, the shootouts, the match attacks. But it's quite funny now to see how many of us actually come from that background. And it's funny now that we all look back and probably go, I wish I would have kept that one in good condition because I knew I had a spare of that one. Do you ever think the same with that 2000, like the early 2000 Ronaldos, that it was so good to stick them in your book there, but probably wish that I've managed to get 4 or 5 duplicates which somehow survived the journey of life?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they're meant to be sort of played with and stuck in. So it's nice having them like encapsulated in perfect condition. But there's something like when you're a kid, you should sort of not really worry about the future value. You should just sort of have fun, whack them in the book. But yeah, I mean, I would have never thought to keep them. I didn't even think any of this like collecting stickers or cards or anything was a thing. It was only like sort of 5 or 6 years ago when I actually thought, right, this could be some value here.
I was going to say, I think that's the same with a lot of us. Obviously, we're switching it over to your ex-partner of crime, obviously, about his journey into the hobby. Obviously, no doubt he's probably thinking, oh, that Merlin Ronaldo sounds quite nice. So is it a similar journey to yourself? Obviously, starting with the stickers / cards
Yeah.
as a kid?
Yeah, I started with the 2010 World Cup book, which I finished like 6 months ago, finally. And then, yeah, Match Attacks. And then I just stopped. But what got me back into it, I was doing football shirts. And I can't remember how it came up, but I think I looked for some sort of football shirt and it came up with a box break on eBay. You know how they get auctioned. And I saw that and I like looked at the person's on eBay and then looked on Instagram and then it just got started from there. And I saw all the cards and I thought it was cool. Started reselling cards and collecting cards instead of shirts. Takes up a lot less space as well. So
I can definitely be a testament to that one. It's much easier to have a stack of cards than a stack of shirts. But I think that perfectly brings me to the next one. Obviously, they're emerging into actually growing a brand / actually form an identity within the hobby, which can be the tricky part. So obviously, when you went from like the shirts to the cards, did you have an aspect in mind what you were wanting to do, or was it more just as you went along and learned more, it turned out to be breaking and obviously buying singles as well along the route?
yeah, I think I just went along with it, saw what happened, and yeah, it went all right. It's going all right.
As I say, when it comes to setting up breakings, I think we've spoke about this quite a lot with other people. How challenging is it, or did you find it at the beginning to start breaking? Because you've got to build trust with people. Because obviously that's, I think, the biggest word within the hobby, especially with breaking, is trust. So how long did it take you to really start building that reputation? And obviously there was troubles and mistakes and everything along the way, but how was the actual setting up of the breaking part go?
It wasn't too bad. I started in 2020, so there was a lot less breakers then. It was the hardest thing was to get product. It was really tricky back then to get product. It was like the Red Chronicles boxes. I must have done like I got through a lot of boxes of them, but yeah, to get people to pay friends and family was difficult for a little while. It probably took like 6 months.
Yeah,
get some people to trust me.
It just reminds me because I remember, obviously, for people and probably a bit newer, know of your whatnots, Vox, whatever it may be, websites. But at the beginning, I don't, obviously, you'll confirm now, but a lot of it was Instagram based. I remember every night you'd go on Instagram, there was probably 4 or 5 people breaking at the same time. You can flick in between. It's so different now that when there's an Instagram break, it's kind of out the ordinary. It feels like it's a bit of a special occasion. So
Yeah,
obviously, it's so much different, wasn't it, when you were breaking on Instagram, because you had to chase people individually and everything like that. It must have been at times a lot of hassle getting all the payments and everything like that for whatever break you was going to do.
it was much harder to like chase 20 individual people to pay and ship. Yeah, without all the labels and everything. It's a lot easier to do now. A lot easier to do now and whatnot and stuff like that.
I was going to say, when you just done your mega sour singles, that would have been fun on Instagram, wouldn't it?
Yeah, jeez. Yeah.
I mean, but obviously now we're switched over attention. Obviously coming from Breaking Break, but obviously, as you said before, you was picking up singles from Merlin and Shootout. So obviously, when you did discover the actual more of the hobby side of it in terms of your more premium sets, how did you find it going in? Was there any plan you had in terms of was you going to just show off your collection, buy singles? Did you ever think about setting up a breaking perspective? Like, how did you go at your early stages within the hobby?
I mean, I just wanted to sort of show off what I thought was cool. I like when I first joined the sort of the hobby and posted my first couple of cards. I spent a lot of money on the Japanese WCCF cards. I don't know if anyone even knows what they are.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I was like, these are a great investment. And I mean, they never turned out to be. But I just thought they looked cool, and I thought they're from Sega, which is pretty awesome. But I never thought like me and Jim would be in America buying like Flawless or anything. It just things like come into place. Like everything stacks up, and then you become more familiar with what sells and like what's more popular and everything. And then your taste refine as well. Like it's like a nice bottle of wine, like it gets better with age. And that's sort of with like my collection and everything. I just knew what like looked better and what got more likes and everything, and sort of just tailored it to that.
Yeah, it actually does. I remember a time in the WCCF when I was like, I think the same thing. I think everyone see it like it reminds me of like the Japan Tops Japan now of it's in a different language on the back. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Like it should, in theory, be you think, oh, it looks cool. It should be worth money, but it don't. Like you say, you learn these things when it comes to the hobby. So obviously, your before we talk about the joint venture, your early hobby experience, obviously, of learning the cards. I always ask one question to everyone, and I don't think I've ever heard anyone disagree. How many late nights on eBay and just getting into the weirdest searches of finding all these different cards and sets of even sports you never heard of? Because I remember at the beginning where you go on a rabbit hole and you prick, oh, has that got a set? And then you see the subsets and then you see the play. Like your early hobby experience of learning the hobby must have been as interesting as well because you've never stopped learning even to today.
No, 100%. I remember people won't know this, but I have on my computer, I have PowerPoints of like every Ronaldo card from like his first 2002 Mega Cracks, like all the way until like he left Real Madrid. So I went through and found every set that he was in, and sort of like put a picture and a bit of a description about the season and everything. And I remember I used to spend like hours like building that PowerPoint. Um, and yeah, it was always fun, and it sort of got me back into the love of football, which was also really nice.
As I said, and over to you, Jim, before we talk about the venture, obviously when you was learning, not just obviously about breaking, but cards in particular, was there anything you remember in particular as well? Because I found it interesting to hear that other people's perspective of learning the hobby, because obviously we all went from easy enough. We could go into whatever shop you're nearby, pick up the packets, or you'd have a mate in school or wherever it may be with the sticker book album. So when you started to learn about the hobby, was it straight into a soccer perspective, or was it as well as some American sports? Because for some people, they learn about the American side before they do about like their football/soccer side.
Yeah, no, I started off with football, and then when the first F1 set came out, I started buying some of that as well. I wish I bought more, but sadly I didn't. But yeah, and now I'm got a bit of basketball, but mainly I just stick to football.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially, I think, especially with you to knowledge of the UK, before obviously American side, but UK side, obviously the American sports are a lot slower here. There's less of a market for the lower end, so to speak. So would you say that the higher end American sports you would say does slightly better in the UK in terms not when I mean higher end, I'm not talking Wemby, one of one Black Shimmers for 500,000, but would you say that it's a slowly emerging market, the American sports?
Yeah, I think it is. I think football recently has been going down a bit. I think the mid-range sort of basketball stuff that seems to do quite well at shows, and there's definitely more vendors with that sort of stuff now.
Yeah, as I say, and before we do introduce our even special guest, obviously, HA, but with the latest news, not even latest news, obviously, we have some of the American buyers, YouTubers, resellers coming over to the next London Card Show. But in the past, we've had American. Do you feel like there's going to be more people realizing that there's probably a good market for them, not necessarily to cover their costs all the time, to come all the way over on, but there is a market for American buyers to come over because not necessarily these American sports have a good price, probably go back and make your bit on top on it.
I would say definitely. I mean, I feel like we're happy to accept a lower percent of comps than quite a lot of American people are. So it probably is for them if they've got a big budget, definitely.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with that. And by the way, for everyone obviously listening along, we are joined by a very, very special guest. No, he doesn't know yet, but he's because he's joined late. He's going to buy everyone around the drinks. But first, H, how you doing?
Yeah, very well. Apologies for the delay in coming jumping on late, but hey, I'm here now. So yeah, very well, mate. Very well. How's everyone? All good?
Yeah, we're all good. I think that's actually perfect. We can actually pass over the next topic. Obviously, we just discussed about their early journey into the hobby, and we're going to talk about their actual joint venture now. So I'll pass this over to you to ask the fine gentleman we're along with tonight about their actual joint venture and why they set it up and how they went about building out a very successful business from it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, throwing straight into the deep end, but see, I mean, yeah, Ron's pretty much asked the question within that sort of sentence. But I guess how did this joint venture essentially start together with the pair of you? How did it all come about, and sort of what was the vision when you first took that into consideration?
Well, we were doing loads of deals with each other at shows, so I think we just thought, let's join up, do it together.
Well, yeah, I think I think when we went to the shows, I would always go to Jim and Hugh's table because they would always give me really good deals. Because I could like really wheel and deal, and they're very generous with deals. And I can't remember. I think it was the London Card Show. We went to, was it Pizza Express?
Yeah.
Yeah, we basically went to Pizza Express and we sat down, and Jim is like extremely hardworking when it comes to like selling and listing and doing all the whatnot stuff, and like that's the complete opposite to me. But I would say I'm quite good at like going to the tables and negotiating deals, and like I don't know, just I don't want to say scamming, but just like yeah, just picking things up at a good price. I know what things sell and like how much we need to pay and whatever. And we sort of agreed to like combine forces and sort of build the brand. And I think we started with, I think it was £5,000 worth of stock at that time. And yeah, we just like built it. We like focused on things that we knew would sell. We had lots of different avenues. We did lots of networking. And we sort of ended it a year, like 14 months later. And yeah, we've like well over 10 times the stock value, and been to like 5 different countries, like America twice, all paid for by, well, mostly paid for by the business. So I think, yeah, we worked really well together, and had a good laugh throughout.
I think has that been sort of your whole thought process going forward in terms of how much you are looking to stock? Because obviously it's not necessarily just your bargain boxes, your sort of your general stock. You've got a lot of obviously high end cards as well. I'm sure people that follow you on Instagram would have seen your success with the national exclusive packs, and obviously you're equally successful in return on the grades as well. So has that sort of been your whole sort of thought process in terms of stocking every single range of card price, etc., to sort of fit the needs of the whole market essentially?
I think so. I think well, I mean, I've come to the sort of the realization that the best way to make money if you want to become a reseller in the market is to focus on sort of the middle to higher end sort of level of cards. Just because if you sell one card, you will make the same amount of profit as 100 small cards. And I think, I don't know if Jim will agree, but I think we learned that a little bit too late because we basically had thousands and thousands and thousands of cards, and just a lot of them we just didn't buy the right thing. We would just buy basically anything numbered or anything like short print. But you really have to focus on the main players, like lower numbered stuff like PSA 10s or like gem mint cards, and then sort of go from there. And raw to grade is by far the best. Like if you're just looking for a return on investment, grading adds so much value. That's like the most important thing to do if you want to build this into a 6-figure business, basically.
Jim, would you agree on that?
Yeah, I think buying to grade is definitely the best thing to do, personally.
And I guess also you're both sort of, or I know you sort of briefly touched on it in terms of the amount of broad shows you've been to. I guess whether you'd call it a challenge or not, but I think in terms of how much you've traveled around and done deals in however many different countries, how have you found the differences or potentially the challenges in terms of making deals in different countries using different currency? How has that then relayed back to the stock you've got and how easy you found that sort of difference?
I'll let you go first, Jim.
I mean, everywhere you go, it's some people are easy to deal with, some people are harder to deal with. In America, it's definitely a lot harder because there's so many buyers. But
yeah, I think the European shows they're little bit more stingy with the prices. They don't really want to get deals done. Well, I don't know, but a lot of them don't want to get deals done. They have a set price in their mind and they won't deviate from that. But in the US, I mean, they're all gamblers, so they want to basically sell it and move on to the next thing. And there's so much more liquidity in America. It just makes you can buy something 10 minutes later, you can sell it. Whereas if you bought something in a UK show or a European show, you could buy a big lot, but you're not going to be able to sell that the same day. I mean, there's only really like 3 or 4 people that I know that would be able to pick up like a £5,000 lot in the UK. They'd like bulk buy it. But in the US, I mean, you could just go to any of the dealers that have we're buying, and you're going to get 70 to 80%.
And I think I can probably sort of jump on the bandwagon on that a little bit, because also when I went out to the German card convention, it was very much a similar process there, where they weren't accepting trades. They didn't want to take any negotiation. It was literally, that's a price, take it or leave it. And it surprised me a lot, because obviously I know in the UK you do get that to a certain degree in terms of a little bit of negotiating on the price. But yeah, when I went to Germany, it was literally, that's it, take it or leave it. There wasn't any negotiation on it. So it's interesting to hear. I know I'll probably speak on behalf of me and Ron in terms of, we'd love to get out to a US show, the National, Dallas, whatever it is, to experience that sort of US side of the hobby. But yeah, even when I went out to German show, that there literally is black and white. That's the price, take it or leave it. So it's interesting to hear then, especially when you're doing it in massive bulk deals to some degree, obviously, in terms of it's still set on that price. But yeah, so I'll hand back over to Ron to carry on.
Yeah, obviously, I think I'm going to come over to you, Jim, for this one. Obviously, how the UK hobby's always seen this, it's more of that collecting hobby. Obviously, don't get me wrong, there's people like yourselves and other people who are there to not obviously enjoy the hobby as well as making money off of it. But can you really see, when you look at like the American shows you went to and then you go to any of the UK ones, that it's such a more of a collector's market? Would you agree with that, having the knowledge of seeing the US especially?
Yeah, I would say the UK is basically pretty much all collectors, whereas the US, there's pretty much everyone's a flipper, but they all do seem to have some sort of PC as well. There's also just much more money in the US to be like thrown around, so they can do so many more deals.
I was going to say, just
still got a lot of room to grow here. Sorry.
I was literally just going to tap on that exact point. Obviously, when you go to the States and you, like you say, you see so many more tables where it says we're buying, and we see it in the videos of whoever it might be, or speaking to the likes of yourself. How, when you're actually over there, is it can it be overwhelming at first, like how much different it is? Because there's so, like you said, there's so much liquidity that deals are getting done all the time. And for us over here, you might have a big deal on the table that people could even probably say, oh, that's a big deal. It's like 500 quid's worth of cards. But then you go to an American show and you can probably on the table and there's someone doing like a 10 grand deal. Like, obviously, we're such a smaller pool of people. And like you said before, it's probably a handful of people who are doing these 5 grand lots that could be one of the challenges, so to speak, when you go to the States. There's so much liquidity that every deal is differently composed and put together.
Definitely. I mean, there's kids over there with like 10 grand just casually walking around buying everything. It's insane. It's completely different to here. And when we went to the National, the size in Chicago was crazy. We were literally there for the whole time, start to close, every day, and I don't think we would have covered everything. I don't think we would have.
Yeah, I remember seeing. I was going to say just before I was literally going to say. I remember seeing a video from Card Collector 2, Pac-Man, and he was walking the floor and it was empty, and he couldn't walk the whole floor empty, not alone with people there. So if I'll let you continue, but is that a massive thing, especially the Nationals, of you would need to do like your homework, so to speak, of working out what to do. Do you do when you did it, did you do like a quick walk of the floor and try and like earmark certain places, or is it one of them you just kind of like deer in headlights and you get there and you're like, I don't really know what to do, and it's only with time that you actually do work out a game plan and how to attack these kind of shows?
I think what we tried to do was like scout out all the football tables, the soccer tables first. I think that's basically what we did. But yeah, the size of it is just crazy. It's probably like 30 times the London Card Show.
Yeah.
Maybe even bigger. I don't know.
Yeah. You've got to have a game plan. If you just go there, like the main things about the national and American shows, you've got to have cash. You've got to, and like $1,000 is just, you just got to get as much as you save, like sell a big part of your stock or whatever if you can. Even like we would sell before like these big shows, we always wanted like 10 to 15K in cash, just because it goes so quickly. Like I honestly think like in the national, it was the first couple of days and all of our cash had pretty much gone. Then we had to flip some stuff to bring that cash back up. So you sort of have to have a game plan. But I would always say to everyone, it is a life-changing. I know it sounds a bit cringe because I think, but going to the national really changed my whole perspective on the hobby and just everything, because it was just so insane. Like you walk in and it's huge. It's basically like a small city, and there's thousands and thousands and thousands of stalls with literally everything you could imagine. And sort of the world's your oyster. If you want to go and buy like wax at like 70% the price it is in the UK, you can go and do that, and then you can sell it in the UK. If you want to go there and just buy like tens of thousands of numbered cards, you can do that. Or if you want to go and pick up some really big cards and then flip it to some of the other collectors in the US and just build up your cash pot, you can do that. So everyone listening, go to the next national, because it's insane.
I was going to say, it does look, as you say, mad. Is there a certain, not even necessarily just card related, because I think that's what people take, is from the journey of the hobbies, that people you meet. But is there any memories you'll take from the national? It doesn't have to be card related, that will always follow you with you, like certain things in particular that happened, or a deal that you done, or something even outside the show of exploring the city. Like, is there something you take away from the nationals that you'd be like, I'm always going to take that with me, no matter if I'm in the hobby or not?
I'll go first.
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, you go, Jim.
Okay, I was just going to say it's just great to meet all the people out there and see new faces and make friends, even though that is a bit cringe as well.
It's not. Don't worry.
I was just going to say, backyard breaks. They for one of our cards, we picked up. I'll just tell you the story quickly. So we picked up a Haaland to 5 autograph for, I think it was $11,000 in cash, and a Steph Curry card, which was worth about 1,500, I think. And it was towards the end. I don't know what day it was. Can you remember, Jim? Was it like the third day? Yeah, day 3. I think it was the third day. So at the end of day 3, we had picked it up. We went to backyard breaks, and I was so exhausted. We put it down, and they really wanted it. One of the team at backyard breaks really wanted it, and they were basically like, I think that their offer on that day was 21,000.
Yeah, we should have taken that.
Yeah, so they offered us 21,000 cash, and I was so tired. And me and Jim were like thinking about. We were standing like, yeah, we should take that. It's like almost a 10 grand profit, in a day, which is just incredible for us. And we were like, let's think about it. Let's go home and think about it, because I need something to eat. And so we went to the hotel, and we were like, we should have taken that. That's stupid.
Yeah.
What? Like, there's no way they're going to offer us any more. And what about if they back out the deal? Then we've just got this Haaland, which we're never going to get a bigger offer than that. So the next morning we wake up, and our first thing we're doing is we literally get there at like 7:30, or whenever it's like about to open, because we had media passes. And the first thing we do is go to the backyard thing, and they haven't set up yet. So we're like, all right, let's just walk around and just like bide our time. We went back there. One of the guys that wanted it didn't want it anymore. And we're like, oh God. I was panicking a little bit. And but another guy still wanted it. He's like, yeah, there's no way I can do that much cash. I'll give you like 10K cash plus 5K cards, or something like that. And I was like, no, I can't do that. But we managed to get, I think it was 13,000 cash plus, or 14,000 cash plus like 5K cards. No, I think it was 13,000 cash plus,
it was 13,000 cash,
5,000 in cards. And then we were able to basically sell some of those cards. We went to Alt and got some cash. And then, yeah, we vaulted a couple and then sold the rest. So we got really lucky.
Yeah, that's
We should have taken 21k.
yeah.
Yeah, don't get too greedy. Don't get
greedy. No.
Like you say, that's a fantastic story, and I think that's one of the things we love to hear in the hobby is when people do say the story, because not always it's the better side. Like you say, you live and learn by every decision within the hobby, and not necessarily, like you say, sometimes the first offer will be the best offer, but sometimes the second
100%.
offer will be. But of all, obviously, like you say, there's millions upon millions of cards at the Nationals. Obviously, the likes of PWCC, Golden all have cards on show. Is there any card in particular that you remember seeing? Not necessarily maybe the most expensive, like a Babe Ruth or something like that, of Michael Jordan. Is there any card in particular that you see at the Nationals and you're like, wow, like it took you back a bit that you've seen that card or you've seen it in person?
2017 Chrome 101, Messi and Ronaldo were next to each other. Who had them?
That was Empire States.
That's it. Yeah. That was
the
crazy.
Superfractors.
Yeah, the Superfractors.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I can see why that one would take you back. Yeah, that's something you don't see every day. That's more like an Instagram highlight reel than a. Oh, by the way, we've just got this on table. How about yourself? Is there one, obviously, apart from the Ronaldo and Messi, that you might have been like, wow, that's massive?
Rick Probstein's collection.
Yeah,
He bought his personal collection. He had like Messi rookie PSA 10 and all that stuff. But the thing that caught everyone's eye was he had 20, I think it was 21.
36.
It's 36. Okay, so he had in a frame, he had 36 Michael Jordan rookie PSA 10s. Yeah. So in it, and that was just part of his collection, and it was just awesome meeting him, because even though he's this absolutely giant guy in the hobby, and like we've submitted with him, he was such a down to earth guy. Like we came over and we were like having a conversation with him, and yeah, it was just awesome.
He tried to sell the Harlem for us. I remember he called someone to try to sell the Harlem.
Oh yeah, he did.
Well.
Yeah. So yeah, shout out Rick.
I was going to say, that's before I hand back over, that's another one. You see a lot of people, especially like pros, you see his name on all the auctions all the time, or within. So when you get to meet some of these people, I know it's quite funny because I, not on the same scale, but like some of the guys from America, that you see the people online and you're a bit like, not starstruck, but you don't know how they're going to come across. But 9 times out of 10, everyone's just in the same hobby for the love of the cardboard and obviously making a bit on site. But how was it like meeting some people that you might have been talking to via DMs or getting close to, that when you're actually in person, it must feel a bit surreal in America, because obviously and the Nationals, there's some heavy hitters there, like the biggest of names. So how was that kind of experience as well, actually getting to meet, like you say, Probstein and others like that?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's like building a network of friends. Like a lot of the people that we're staying at this year's National, we met at the Chicago National, and like we never knew them before, but then you sort of become friends, and now we're staying in an Airbnb with all of them. So, and when it comes to like meeting like Card Collector 2 and like all of the soccer YouTubers like Trike and Sunday League Investor and everything, it's just awesome, and they're so down to earth, because at the end of the day we're all enjoying collecting, and it's cool. It's pretty awesome.
So, anything you want to add on that one, Jim? Because I know obviously, like, well, I feel like it'd be quite similar perspectives from the pair of you, but just intriguing to hear your point as well.
Yeah, no, exactly the same. The nice thing was as well, I didn't meet anyone that was not very, very nice either. Everyone was as they seemed on camera, which is good.
Yeah, but, if everyone was like that in life, it would be a lot easier. But like we say, it's normally quite good when it does come to the cardboard aspect of it. But I'm going to pass over to H now to talk about maybe more. Obviously, you spoke about the Harlan deal, but any other deals, and then obviously the and that, like how you come to obviously ending the partnership and then liquidating stock. But I'll pass back over to our lovely co-host who's chilling there at the bottom. So over to you, H.
Yeah, because I think just to quickly revert back to the National, because I think if my memory serves me correctly, didn't you both pull the 1-of-1 Garnacho auto?
We bought
that deal. We bought
it. That's a common thing that we always get. Everyone, like, because we had 10 cases of the product that you got to redeem the top packs. So the way that actually happened, this is sort of exposing our secrets, is not only did we pay people to stand in line to claim them, I think we paid someone $100 to wait in the line for an hour or 2 hours or whatever. But we also found people who just like, I don't know what they did, but they would basically rip. They would go, they would buy like a couple of cases of the product. They would go to Tops, redeem the special Tops Chrome packs, and then message us saying, we're going to open it. Do you want what we pull? And we would basically say, yeah. So they would go to the little trading booths and the little tables, rip all of this product. Oh, they would only rip the Tops Chrome like redeem packs,
the national packs,
the national packs, and then they would sell us all of that. And they were like, "Do you want the boxes, the unopened like couple of cases?" And we're like, "Sure." So we bought, at the end of it, it was 10 cases. I think we spent about $6,000 on everything, but that was the best rip. Like that was so much fun ripping 10 cases of Tops Chrome
so
MLS.
much rubbish.
Oh no, Tops Finest
10
MLS.
cases.
Was it Tops Finest?
8 cases of MLS and 2 cases of Bundesliga.
Yeah.
And we didn't get any 101s in the MLS, and we got 2 in the Bundesliga. So
in one case.
Yeah, in one box.
Wow. So I guess, Jim, as a United fan, I know obviously with the shirt you're wearing right now, but I guess obviously as having that 1-of-1 Garnacho auto, obviously, because it's been graded as well, isn't it? I think, is it 10-10?
Yeah. 9-10. All
9-10.
the other ones got 10-10s, but that got 9-10. So.
I mean, how is that as a United fan, having that sort of,
very cool.
card?
It's very nice, yeah. It is very nice. It'll be hard to let go of. We still got it if anyone wants to buy. But it's not going to be nice to see the back of it.
I mean, as lucky as you did get yesterday in the FA Cup semi-final, but we're not going to talk about that. But I guess, so I mean, in terms of obviously, the whole national and all the sort of the deals and the cases you ripped, are there any? I know Jim, I've probably answered your question for you, but in terms of your favourite cards or your favourite deals you've done to obtain certain cards, if I could give you maybe top 3 each in terms of your favourite deals or your favourite cards, it's pretty a big ask. But what would you rank?
I've got my 3.
Right, go on, let's hear it.
Number 1, the Tops Chrome Star Wars Black Claude 1-of-1 Superfractor Auto. Number 2, the Tops Chrome Sebaceous Crumb Tops Chrome Black 1-of-1 Superfractor Auto. And number 3, the Chiquilli Tops Chrome Black Superfractor Auto. So those are by far my 3 favourite cards. And Jim has them all. I don't know if Jim can show.
I have 2 of them here.
2 of them here.
The background's blurred, so you won't be able to see it. But I've got Salacious B. Crumb and Jaquilli right next to me.
Go on, Jim.
Garnacho has to be one. The Superfractor. What else? Can't say the same ones.
The Ronaldo Flawless, maybe.
Oh yeah. How could I forget that? Yeah, the Ronaldo Flawless, definitely. And we picked up 2 Panini Noir. This was early when we started. The Panini Noir 1-of-1 patches of Ronaldo and Messi. So let's put them together at 3.
I mean, you set the benchmark pretty high just from those top 3 each. But obviously, I know in terms of sort of your future plans within the hobby, obviously, I'm sure everyone saw the announcement. Obviously, you have sadly decided to end and liquidate a lot of the stock that you've got. Where did that decision sort of come from in terms of what your sort of decision was to finally get to that point and go, you know what, it's time to sort of liquidate all the stock we've got?
Internal cancellation. One of the members got cancelled. If I'm honest, I think we just agreed, like, we wanted to start fresh. We had a lot of stock and we just sort of wanted to split it, get a little bit of money and sort of go our own ways. But it's nothing to do with like our personal relationships. It's more to just do with, we had so much stuff. We've had such a blast. But like all things must come to an end. And I think it's just, when we all live in like different parts of the country, it's a little bit tricky to like organize everything. But when you're doing it yourself, you can just focus on sort of like what you have, do a stock count and then sell that. But yeah, nothing. I mean, there's no drama. Like, unfortunately, sorry.
There goes the exclusive. Damn it!
I'm about to say, that's it now. Rather than end it here.
we can lie. We can make up something. But
yeah, you can cut that out if you want.
But I guess, as you say, all good things, I guess, do come to an end at some point. So that being said, individually, also, what are your future plans, obviously, within the hobby? What are your sort of your next 6 months looking like in terms of what you are expecting to do?
I'm going to be
Jim,
doing
should we
more
start with you?
breaking.
Go on, Jim.
I'm going to be doing more breaking, and I don't know, maybe flip some cards at the same time. I'm going to the National and Milan show, and what's it called? Burbank as well.
Lisbon.
And Lisbon, and no, Porto card
Porto,
show.
yeah.
€1 entry for anyone that wants to go. But yeah,
That's
I don't know.
unbelievable.
We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think I'm going to be doing more breaking.
Good.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna cool off with the bulk buy, if I'm honest. Like, I'll go to all the shows and sort of buy the things that I like, and if I see some opportunities to make a little bit of money, then I'll do that. But like, I really just enjoy the people and just sort of like connecting and having a laugh, like going to trade nights and like having a couple of beers with your mates. Just because, I mean, I live in pretty much the middle of nowhere, so it's always nice to meet up with people and sort of like just chat about stuff, life, and whatever. But I do have a very like entrepreneurial bone in my body, so if I do see a good deal, then I'm going to be buying it. So yeah, and also my goal this year is to find the 2021 Topps Chrome Claude Superfractor from I think it's 2020 actually, 2020 Star Wars Topps Chrome. I have to find it. That's like my holy grail, and I will pay. I almost like probably about 3 or 4 times more than anyone in the whole world. Like I'll put $1,000 bounty on it. So, which is probably
There's your
like,
podcast disclaimer. Put it in the bio, Ron.
if you have it, that $1,000 bounty, and I will. I don't know. Buy you. I don't know, as many beers as you want at the show, whatever.
I think that's what the hobby is all about, is putting yourself out there, but equally it's about the people you got around you, going out, having a good time, cut the beers, whatever it is. It's good to hear obviously what both sort of your plans are going forward now and what you're both sort of delving back into. So yeah, Ron, obviously I'll hand back over to you.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's been lovely to talk about, obviously, so far the beginning, the middle, and then like the end of grip. Obviously, I'd say it's a new beginning as well. It's not the end; it's just a new beginning. Like you say, I've got to come over to Jim. Obviously, say about the break-in. Is there any in particular products that you obviously it is a Euros year? We won't talk too much about tops and not having the certain shirts or anything, because I think we've said that enough on this podcast. But is there any products in particular that you'd like to be ripping, or potentially old sets, or even obviously looking forward to this year's releases?
What's the new one coming out? Oh my God, what's it called?
Pristine.
Pristine. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to see what that's like. And if they do a Disney Sapphire, that'll be quite cool as well, I think.
As I say, I was looking through the Disney checklist myself last night when I then realised how many different film series, whatever it might be, is in there.
Yeah.
Is there anything in particular? Like, obviously, I think everyone wants to hit the Mickey Mouse Superfractor 1 of 1, but obviously a lot of them are childhood memories of different cars. Like, there's a certain Toy Story character that's been added this time that I will be chasing, obviously the aliens in it. But is there any people like that, in like different people within the Disney set you would love to like hit a really nice card of?
Heimlich.
Love it.
or maybe Mike and Sully as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The Incredibles as well. That's a good film.
Yeah. It's just so much memories. That's why I think. Would you say that's why the Disney set's doing so well? It unlocks the nostalgia, like when we started collecting stickers and cards as a kid.
Definitely, and it's like very family orientated. I feel like you could definitely get your children involved, and maybe your wife as well.
Yeah, maybe not for a while for me on that one. I probably wouldn't have one if I spent a proportion of what I do on cards. But like I say, as long as they like cards, it probably might make life a lot easier. But obviously, coming over to you, Space. Obviously, like you say, you'd be still keeping an eye out on that growl. Have you decided like a PC going forward? Obviously, like you say, you got some big cards you're looking for, but is there anything else that could take your fancy or potentially delve into?
I think like what I'd love to collect is all of the Ronaldo shootout cards and like the match attacks. just because, like I said, those were like in like super like the perfect 10 grade, just because they're super hard to find, and it would just be awesome to have like a perfect condition card that we had as a kid.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you remember like the foil 2008 Ronaldo match attack and like the limited edition 2008 one, and just like they just look so good and they're so nostalgic.
Yeah.
And it'd just be nice to have like a frame with all of them going through his years. So yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
As I said, that's just unlocked. I remember like some of them as a kid, the blacked out match attacks where you was always
Yeah,
looking
that's
at,
it.
and it was never the play you wanted. It was always someone that you already had. But I was looking back through the bind. I don't know if you ever do the same thing, like looking back through your binders, if you ever come across them or like album. Do you like I was looking at it again, and I see like some packs come up the other day at a card show, and someone was opening like Merlin 2060. Have you ever thought about that, potentially trying to find like some of the old packs? Because I know some people do grade the packs, but I don't know if you'd agree with me, but the temptation to rip it would just be too much.
Yeah, yeah. In my like gaming room, study room, whatever, I've got like a bit of a collection of all of the old sticker boxes where I'd buy like they used to come in like either 50 or 100 packets. And yeah, I ripped those, and we sent a lot off to grade as well. So a lot of the cards that you see pop one PSA 10s were actually mine and Jim's, where we had ripped the boxes. And yeah, I'd love to find like the old shootouts, like his first Man United card. Like that would be awesome to find like a sealed box or something.
As I say, I only imagine, like I say, they're the shootout cards, especially ones that never really get the notice because obviously it's still,
No.
so to speak, because it's not hobby. Would you ever, like you say, you'd like to go through getting all of them? But I think that would be quite intriguing to watch as well, like how they do it grading. Would you ever consider, say, for example, you went through an old binder and you had like 2 Ronaldo? Would you debate sending off like, because we see it a lot with what people do with like their Pokemon Yu-Gi-Oh cards, of they actually do grade one of their childhood cards? Would you ever consider that if you had 2? Because obviously, one thing is you can never split up a complete binder.
No, you can't. Yeah, I mean, I've done that for a couple of my cards that I had as a kid. And actually at the show in CardCon, Yorkshire collector Adam, he in his like box of Ronaldo cards, he actually had his childhood 2008 Ronaldo. And yeah, so he was like, I was like, do you want to let this go? And I'll keep it in my collection forever. Because a lot of the stuff that I buy from sort of my friends in the hobby, if it's like something where they've got a bit of an emotional attachment to it, but they're just not too attached to it, I'll buy it and then I'll just say I'll keep it in my collection forever, just so if you ever are desperate for it, I can just give it back to you. But if not, it's just nice to sort of have it in my collection.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to just have like a massive, like 100 card sub of stuff that I've opened, like a super nostalgic sub. Yeah.
As I say, over to you, Joe. Obviously, you say about breaking. Have you got a mindset of saying you might want to collect? Obviously, wearing your Man U shirt at the moment, I suppose it's not the biggest pool of players you probably would want to PC at the moment. But is there anyone in particular? Like you say, you've got the Garnacho, but is there any players or legends in particular that you'd like to PC?
Ex-players, maybe not legends, but I collect Herrera and De Gea. I like collecting those two, but they don't have that many cards, so they're hard to come across.
I was going to say Ander Herrera. He was in one of the PSG Chromes.
Yeah, I've got his PSG Chrome 1/1 auto super fractor.
Yeah, should have guessed that.
Don't know why you bothered asking, Ron. Don't know why you even asked.
I was going to say, like, especially when that set come out, obviously everyone was Mbappe, Messi, Neymar, whoever. Do you think you might have been one of probably a handful of people, potentially by yourself, and
the only one?
Just him
his
and
family.
You. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I probably was the only one looking for it. But you know what? I actually got outbid on the Chromes the other day on eBay. So someone else must be looking for him. So,
or someone's waiting to see you to try and make a quick profit.
Yeah, just trying to shill me up.
Actually, I'm going to there's an elephant in the room, so to speak, and it's a certain person who's no longer in the F1, and that's obviously Gunther Steiner, because we probably have two of UK's bigger buyers of Gunther. Before we go to you, Jim, obviously H, a Gunther Steiner fan yourself, how does it feel to have someone on the podcast that also collects Gunther Steiner?
Yeah, it's nice for a change. It is nice for a change. So, I mean, yeah, it was. I mean, it still is heartbreaking that he's no longer in the F1. I think arguably probably one of the biggest F1 goats, especially from Drive to Survive. And yeah, obviously had a lot of attention around him. I'm still very fortunate to own the one of one, albeit from paper, from flagship. But obviously, yeah, I'm not letting go of that anytime soon. And I'm literally still one card away from the rainbow. Jim, if you have it, please tell me, because I've been looking at it for the last 6 to 7 months, if not longer. But yeah, obviously, massive shame for him to leave F1. But it's now the chance to pick up your last few dynasties or your last 3 Topps chromes that he's going to be in. So no doubt, obviously, 2020 prices will rise now he's no longer in F1. But hopefully we see the return of Gunther in the future, and I'm sure me and Jim can be sad together now that he's not.
We
not
can
in
dream.
F1. We can dream. We can definitely dream that he returns at some point in the future.
To say, before we started, Jim, we did speak about you was going after a certain one of one as well, which is in possession of HJA. So how does it feel that you've got, is there anything you want to say to the man himself that he actually beat you to that car?
I just remember it was SK's.
Was it you?
Yeah, it was me.
I didn't even realise that.
Yeah, no, he just kept messaging me back saying I kept getting outbidded and stuff. Oh, that was fun.
I remember I was literally laying in my bed with my day off work, and I saw it, and I was like, "Oh my god, that one of one." He goes, "I've got someone who's interested." No, like, he's offered me X. I was like, "I'll offer Y," and he was like, "Yeah, okay, you stop now." I was like, "Oh, right, cool."
How much more have you gone up?
I never realised.
But now, what you got to do is, now he beat you to it, you just got to get every single one of the cards he needs in the rainbow.
There's only one left. That's why I said I bet he's got it.
I don't. I have the flagship one of him and Mazepin to 5.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, that's
definitely... No, I've not seen a single one in like a year. I've not
They're
seen
hard
one.
To find.
No, wherever it is, Card Hobby, Twitter, Instagram, eBay, wherever. I've not seen a single one, and it's killing me.
You're gonna have to throw a bounty up now, wouldn't you? That's how it works now. Yeah. Got to throw the bounty. We've got one bounty already on the show. Do you want to throw a bounty up, H, for that?
I mean, we might as well throw a bounty out somewhere. But it literally is the last one. The last one. I've not found it ever. I've not seen it anywhere. It's breaking my heart.
One day, don't worry, mate. One day it'll come up. But like I say, obviously we spoke about PCs, and obviously we look forward briefly of what's coming up. Like we said with Jim a second ago, but say of what's coming up in the next year. Obviously, like you say, you've got some big shows planned, but obviously I want to ask a question, because obviously there's a certain basketball player which no doubt will be in very high demand / be everywhere at Nationals, which is obviously Victor Wembanyama. So are you looking forward to potentially seeing some of these cards in person? Because I can't remember the last person who took the hobby by storm like this. No doubt this probably was similar to what it was in the early 2000s when LeBron was drafted to the Cavs, but the hype for Wembanyama was crazy. You're looking forward to going out to the States and probably getting a bit of Victor fever?
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, there are a lot of rookies that are hyped up and then do not end up like. I'm not sure how similar the price will be in 5 years. I'll put it like that.
So over to Space. Do you think the Victor fever in the Nationals is going to be quite intriguing?
I do, yeah. I think he is like a generational talent with his size and likability. So I think people are going to go a bit crazy on his cards, but is he going to be a GOAT? Who knows? And that's the risk. So like if I had all this money, would I have spent $500,000 on one of his black 101s? Definitely not. But yeah, who knows? He could be like one of the greats. And I feel like he knows about the hobby. I feel like he'll come to one of the shows, because I know there's a big Fanatics event in August with Tom Brady and Kevin Durant. I just have a really a sneaking suspicion that he's going to be there as well. But we'll have to wait and see.
It definitely would be hard to miss, because he'd be taller than all the stands. So
true.
Yeah, you're seeing him. But the last talking point I just wanted to ask you about is obviously the UK hobby itself. Like how, obviously, since your beginning of the journey into it, how you think that it's it's changed and what you'd like to see in the near future. So actually, throw it straight back to you, Spade. Like, obviously, the UK hobby is still new, it's still evolving, it's still growing, it's still learning. But have you noticed big changes since you started in it? And like I say, it's a collectors group. It seems a lot more of a friends group as well. That, like you say, it shows everyone's talking to each other and going for a drink. But the UK hobby is a great thing because it is a niche market. There is more of a collector base. So how have you found it, and like where would you like it to see it like go in the future?
I think it's a couple of things. We definitely need more collectors, because I feel like you go to the show, and I feel like I know 80% of the people that go. We need to sort of broaden the sports card market in the UK and bring some more people in, because I know there's a lot of Pokemon and sort of like Yu-Gi-Oh collectors who go to the shows, which is great, but I think we need more sports only shows. Maybe not even shows, but just a way to bring in more collectors into sort of higher end, because I know there's lots of people that collect the stickers and like collect the match attacks and whatever, but I feel like if we want, which is my second point, if we want more liquidity in the hobby, we need some people to sort of turn it into a bit of a business, because when you have a business, then like they can invest into other places. Like, I know for our business, if it wasn't for a few people, we would have not done as well. And it's only because those people are in the UK and actually have the funds to buy a bulk lot from us. We wouldn't have been able to survive. So we need more people to like bring liquidity in. I don't know how that's going to happen, but it would just be great to sort of like everyone in the UK to get an extra like £10 million to spend on sports cards. But
yeah,
it
would be lovely, wouldn't it? It would be very nice to be able to go. But I'll throw this at the same thing with you, Jim, about like the UK hobby, and I feel like you can obviously use your experience of the US, but obviously the UK is a lot tight. I think it's perfectly put. It is a smaller pool. You do know pretty much everyone first name basis and just know everyone's faces. Even though I think there's quite a lot of people you just be like, "Oh, you're right, mate." Like you spoke to them 10 times, but you know their Instagram handle, but you don't know them in person.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, I feel like everyone that sets up at the shows always seems to be the same people. It would be nice for some new people. There's people in the hobby, they don't go to shows, and I think if they go to shows, I think it would help as well. I mean, it's
do you
a lot
want to
of
name
fun
any
as
names?
well.
Do you want to call anyone out?
I can't think of anyone, but off the top of my head, but there are loads of accounts that just don't come to shows, and I think they'd enjoy it. But I think that would help the hobby, definitely.
Definitely. I'm going to call out one of my mates for that, and I know he don't even listen to the podcast, but L_trade software, please get to a card show. I haven't been for about 4
Come on, Louis.
Yeah, but like I say, it's been obviously a privilege to have both of you on, and obviously before, we always like to say you can plug away of whatever. So obviously we'll start with you, Jim, because obviously, like you say, your breaks are going to start be back up. So where is everyone going to be able to find you? Or obviously the Instagrams will all be down below anyway, but please feel free to tell people what to expect to see you come in, where to be, where everything else in between, mate.
Yeah, Gorilla Breaks on all socials, basically. And also, message me with any Gunter Steiner, Callum Wilson, Ander Herrera, and David De Gea 101s.
Yeah, especially what's the Gunther you need?
Oh, yeah, the Red to 5 flagship, please.
There we go. Like say, you've heard it here. I've never heard that card being asked for on the podcast. So, like I say, I think Jim needs that one for his rainbow.
No, but I just know the next time I'm going to see it, Jim will have it. I can feel it already.
I need to double check I don't have it, but I don't think I do.
The best thing is when he sends you a picture and he's got all 5. That's going to be the best.
I'm just praying.
Like I say, your Instagram's down below. But I'm saying massive thank you, Jim, for coming on. If you ever need, ever want to come back on for a platform or you want to just talk, feel free to come back on, my friend.
Thank you.
And obviously,
it's been great. It's been great.
I'd say it's been a privilege. And obviously, Space, I'm going to put actually everyone. You did reach out quite a long time back coming on the podcast.
Whoa. Let's not start that drama.
It's been a long journey, but like I say, to drive you on.
Yes, I may have messaged saying when will Space come on, but that was the old me. I've matured from then. So
like I say, honestly, it's been a pleasure to have you on. And like I say, you've got on now, so you're.
Persistency.
This is a dream come true. I'm genuinely. I'm putting this on my CV. So thank you guys.
But like I say, for anyone who doesn't follow, obviously your Instagram's down below. But is there anything else you'd like to plug away, or like we say, Jim's done it. He's called for certain people with certain cards. So obviously, I know there's a bounty on a certain one, but is there anything else you've got your eyes on?
Yeah, just follow my Instagram, RS1 Cards. And no, I'm joking. That's Robert, one of our buddies. But yeah, I mean, just I don't know if you want to see my collection, how it grows, give me a follow. But I'm really looking for the Superfractor Claude, and genuinely, I will make all your dreams come true if you pack it. So,
like I say, a massive thank you for you guys coming on. Like I say, I'm very happy that you've done your eBay sale because I now have a Georgia Stanway Gold Sapphire variation sitting in my case, which needs to go graded. But like I say, massive thank you, boys, for coming on. We wish you all the best in your future ventures, whatever it may be. But no doubt we'll be seeing you at card shows far and few, wherever it is in between. But like I say, massive thanks for coming on and joining us on the podcast.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah.
H, any closing words for you, my friend? Obviously, another bumper episode. We've got another big one coming up. So don't know if you want to tell everyone who's on next week's episode while we're here.
Yes, obviously there was an announcement out on eBay, on Instagram, obviously with a certain handful of US collectors obviously coming over to the London Card Show, and we are very pleased to be joined by Troy Trike 415 Cards, obviously on the next episode of the podcast. So stay tuned for that one. Obviously, very much looking forward to speaking to Troy and obviously getting his pre-London Card Show thoughts. So yeah, we will be joined by the one and only Troy on the next episode.
Yeah, so if anyone thinks we're tired in the next episode, remember it is an 8-hour time difference with California. So he's sunning himself in 30-degree heats when we're probably about 4 degrees outside of midnight. But like we say, a massive thank you for every single person who's joined us along for this episode, whether it's watching, joining along, getting involved where it may be. And a massive thanks over to the guys at Third Down yet again for powering up this episode. And don't forget, use TTP10 at checkout. But from all of us here, I hope everyone out there is doing well, staying safe, buying, selling, trading, and all of that good jazz. But most importantly, happy hobbying and good night.